Wouldn't it be nice to have several thought leaders in your industry know and love your brand? Start a podcast. Invite your industry's thought leaders to be guests on your show and start reaping the benefits of having a network full of industry influencers. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. Today we are joined by Alison Kedzior. She's the Director of Marketing at Rahi Systems. Alison, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure having you on the show. I've been trying to get you on the show for what feels like months now, but I finally tracked you down.
I appreciate your persistence. I'm excited to be here.
This is good. Well, and I was excited to sort of share today's topic with our listeners, which is why I was being so persistent. We are going to be talking about how to take advantage of social media marketing in 2017. It's a very it's kind of a volatile, evolving topic. Things that were relevant a year ago are no longer relevant. So that's why I was very excited to get you on the show. But before we get into today's topic, maybe you can tell our listeners a little about what you and your team at Rahi Systems are up to these days.
Sure. So Rahi Systems is a global data center solutions provider. We're based in Fremont, California, but we do global solutions. So we provide all the infrastructure products that go inside of your data center, including racks, containment, accessories, storage, network compute, as well as provide professional and managed services. Part of my job here at Rahi Systems is to evangelize our brand, to build our brand, take care of the website, do all of our publications. And a huge piece that I've been in charge of is developing our social media strategy, which is why I'm here today. I'm very excited to share with everybody some of the stuff that we've been doing as far as starting our strategy and growing and maintaining it. So Rahi Systems has been in business now. This is our 5th year. And when I started with the company, we had no social platform at all. So today I'm happy to say that we do have a social platform that supports our brand and our growth strategy as well. And that's what I want to dive into today with you guys.
That's perfect. And so, again, taking advantage of social media marketing in 2017, and you've been in the thick of it. You know your stuff. And I think it's one of those things. You talk to people, everyone's like, oh yeah, social media marketing. But why not let's start off today's episode by sort of defining that. What is social media marketing? What are we actually talking about today?
Sure. So it's funny you say that because I think the same thing. It's one of those words that get thrown around and people think they understand what it is and what it means. So out of curiosity, I just looked up the definition of social media and social networking, which are one and the same. But the definition actually states websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. And then networking is obviously the act of utilizing those channels to communicate B2B or B2C or just individuals. So that's what social media is. Something that I tell a lot of people I work with in marketing and communications too is we talk about, your brand and your presence and the importance of a website, right? So your website is your biggest piece of real estate. I say that line often. And now my new line is, and now your social channels live on that real estate. Meaning that the first place that people go is your website, and the second place, or maybe even the first place people go, are your social networking channels. So if you're looking for a job, you're going to visit the website, obviously, and probably go to the Facebook page of that provider to see what the atmosphere is like. If you want to purchase something from that company, you want to read reviews on them, you're going to go to a Yelp page, you're going to go to the LinkedIn page. If you want to see what events a competitor is at, you're going to look at their Twitter feed and see how active they are. So it really is a place that people are going very, very often. And, you have to take a step back too and think about social media in general. How did it start? Why did it start? And how it didn't start business to business. It started just individual to individual, staying in touch with people. I was looking at the stats too, just to put into context how many users there are in social media these days. Facebook has 1.86 billion users monthly. That's insane. That's a reach of so many people in just one channel. YouTube, there's 1 billion monthly active users on YouTube. LinkedIn has 500 million. So again, just to put that into context, that's a reach of billions of people just through these channels of getting information and sharing awareness about what you're doing, what your company is up to, pushing products. They're just a lot of channels.
Right. And so, I mean, when you're talking about the social media marketing, it sounds like you are not only talking about the things that you and your company are sort of putting out there, but you're also including the things that other people are saying about you.
Absolutely. It's a way, again, for them to learn about your brand, your company, yourself as a person, and then also to share opinions. People are more likely, obviously, to write something on a comment on a blog post or like a Facebook picture versus calling you up or sending you a text message these days and checking in and thanking you for something or applauding you for something. It's just an easier way of interaction. Yeah.
And so, and I think we've got a good grasp of then, social media networking. But the marketing side, let's dive in a little bit to the marketing side. I mean, do you need to have a huge social media marketing budget? Do you need to have a dedicated team? Let's talk about the evolution of that and what it kind of looks like in 2017.
Sure. So having a team, absolutely. You need to have someone in place to do your strategy. And having a social media strategy is just as important as having a blog strategy, an email campaign strategy, a PR strategy. Your overall marketing strategy should be broken down to all these different pieces, including social media. So having a team to run that is huge. And having budget to do paid advertisement is not 100% necessary. You can definitely start with having nothing, but if you do have budget, it's just like using Google. If anyone's familiar with using Google AdWords, the more you use it, the more that Google likes you, the higher your search terms come up. So it's kind of the same thing with social media. The more you're putting into it, the more you're going to get out.
Mm-hmm. And what are some elements of crafting, having a successful social media strategy?
Sure. So the first thing I would suggest are knowing what channels you need to be a part of. So knowing your industry, for instance, if you are selling clothing, for instance, you're probably going to want to have a Pinterest page. If you're selling data center products like my company, Pinterest maybe isn't the best outlet for us. So knowing your channels that you're going to be using, and that's twofold because your channels equate to your audience. So knowing who you're targeting, what that age group is, what that geographic is, where do they live, what channels are they on the most is very, very important. And then that goes a little bit further too with your content. What are you posting? What's the goal out of posting something? Do I want to just show awareness? Do I want people to know that this is just my company name or this is something that we're pushing this week? Or do I want an action from it? So you take that a little bit further. This is a new product that we have, but I want you to click on this page to watch a short video, or I want you to do another click and fill this form out to win something free. So what's that action that we're going to be getting from it? And then when you're posting, your strategy should also include what that schedule is going to be. Again, just like blogs and email campaigns, you don't want to overwhelm your users. You don't want to be posting something every 5 minutes because you're going to get very diluted. You want to have a schedule where you're posting either on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. I would not recommend a monthly basis, definitely more on a daily or weekly basis, but having that scheduled out so you're not scrambling at the last minute or you're not actually taking advantage if you are doing paid, you definitely need to have that schedule in place.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's also a level of coordination then across these various social media platforms. I mean, you're sort of maybe trying to capitalize on things that certain platforms do better than others.
Absolutely. A great example of that is hashtags. Hashtags are known on Twitter and on Facebook. LinkedIn has not gone into the hashtags, so don't waste your time trying to search things that are trending on LinkedIn via hashtag. that's a good example of that as well.
Yeah. So, all right, you've started to, if you're a listener and you're in charge of this social media marketing, you've defined it, you've started to develop a strategy, but the third part of this is now actually how to be successful with that strategy. It's the execution of the strategy. What does that look like?
Sure. So I brought up in the beginning too that we should have your strategy should be just like blog, email campaigns, PR, article postings. I find the biggest success is making sure that all of those are working in parallel. So editorial calendar is huge. Anyone that's in marketing and communications, I'm sure that you have an editorial calendar. But for those of you who do not have an editorial calendar, it's just one big master sheet or tracker. If you want to use an online tool or good old Google Sheets, it gives you an outlook for every day, week, month ahead, and you pick topics based on relevancy or whatever you're trying to push within your company. So everything should really align. If you're writing about one thing on your blog, your social should match, your email campaign should match, your sales team should know what product that is as well. So everything's working in parallel. If that is happening, you will see a better increase in traction because you're getting so many more touches to your end user versus just doing one at a time that isn't in sync. So I would say that's kind of an overall strategy that you should have when planning this. Now, again, putting that stuff into action is execution on these things. So if I put together a social media strategy where I'm doing daily posts, those posts should be pre-done at least a week out. They should be loaded and ready to go and scheduled so you're not, again, scrambling last minute. So once you are active and you have that plan, it doesn't really stop there. Sure, you can post something every single day and think that everything's working properly, but you need to be doing a deep dive. So analytics are across every of the major social media platforms right now. The ones that I'm using are LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We have a Vimeo account, YouTube, Google+, as well as Instagram. All of the accounts that I mentioned have analytic tools with them. So it's very, very, very important, I can't stress it enough, to go in and check your analytics. Your analytics will tell you how many likes you get, how many views you get, how many shares you get. And it's a way for you to correlate all of that stuff with your ROI. You can link all of those accounts to your Google Analytics to see what social sites bringing in the most traffic to your website. If you're doing paid search through Google, you can link all of that together to see what conversions you're getting from paid advertisement versus organic. So that's one part of it. The second part is understanding what your audience is interested in. So if someone is very interested in a post that you did on Thursday, maybe replicate that the next week and do a deeper dive into it so the context is there. You can also see trends in when your postings are most relevant. So if you find that posting first thing in the morning at 9 a.m., you're getting a huge reach that morning, then that's the time that you should probably be posting. But if you're getting zero traction and maybe 1 to 2 likes or whatever your goal is, switch it up. Pick a different time of the day that you're going to be posting something. Pick a different day of the week that you're going to be posting something. Try to switch up your content on the different channels to see if that works as well. And make sure your posts are interactive. Nowadays, again, all of us have personal social accounts. And what do? We scroll, we like, we click, but we want things that give us instant gratification. So it goes the same for B2B or B2C when you're posting on social media as well. You want to have posts that are instant gratification for the end user. So whether it is a quick video, whether it's quick tips, something that's an easy read, or something that they can share very quickly, that's going to give you the most traction.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, you had also mentioned very briefly about even making things not just in sync, but almost looking the same. I mean, there needs to be sort of a homogeneous look. And I think we've had guests on the show who have said before, if your advertisement looks a certain way, the landing page that they're being directed to should have a similar look and feel. It shouldn't be a jarring experience. It should be sort of a very natural progression.
Absolutely. Consistency is huge. Again, I always like to take a step back as a marketer and think about why I purchase something, why I like something, why I read something. And it's that familiarity. So if you see something once, maybe you'll remember it. If you see it twice, the chances are better. But if it's looking the same, feeling the same, and you have a comfort level, then you're going to recognize it faster and be more prone to interacting with it.
Yeah. Well, and Alison, you had touched on just a couple of tools when you were starting to talk about tracking your analytics. Are there any any tools or any software that you've just seen success with, things that maybe our listeners should check out in terms of things that are related to social media marketing, tracking those metrics or being more involved?
Yeah, you can use third-party software such as Marketo does that, Hootsuite, Octopost, Sprout. There's tons of third-party softwares. I personally use Hootsuite. You can link everything to it. You can schedule all your posts at once. You can track all of your analytics from there. It's a pretty intuitive tool.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, and this is obviously a lot of work. So the more tools that you have at your disposal, the more efficiently you're going to be able to get the job done.
Absolutely.
So, Alison, if any of our listeners are interested in following up with you about today's episode, or maybe even learning a little bit more about Rahi Systems, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
They can visit our website at www.rahisystems.com. Or you can message me directly on LinkedIn. My name is Alison Kedzior. Easiest way. Perfect.
Well, Alison, it was definitely worth tracking you down to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Jonathan.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you or someone you know would be an incredible guest for the B2B Growth Show, email me at jonathan@sweetfishmedia.com. Let us know. We love connecting with B2B executives, and we love sharing their wisdom and perspective with our audience.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.